Thanks for joining us here at Enjoy the View Travel, and welcome to the channel. This week's View on Travel Season 2 starts now. Hey, welcome to my channel. I'm Brittany Farley with Enjoy the View Travel. If this is your first time watching, thanks for stopping by to catch this week's View on Travel. So we have officially hit enough subscribers that we're able to go live on YouTube. So I'm going to try and do that this weekend. I need to kind of see what it looks like on my end, what we're going to be able to do. I think it's going to open up a whole new element on things that we can do as far as going live. I think that can be fun. So if you're able to hop on if I go live or when I go live, please do that. You can say hi. If you can't, that's okay too. I'll be doing some brainstorming over the weekend and over the next week to see what I can come up with. Thank you guys for sharing the videos and helping me get my name out there as I grow our channel. And if you're not already a subscriber, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss our latest episodes. Now, let's get to this week's View on Travel. We have been talking about Real ID for quite some time now, and the deadline is approaching. Now, TSA is warning passengers that there might be some denied boarding starting May 7th if you do not have a Real ID. Okay, so unless you have that Real ID or a passport, you can expect to face delays, possibly additional screening, and the possibility of not being permitted into security checkpoints. So there is less than a month to go until Real ID goes into effect. Do you already have your Real ID? I do not have mine, but I have a passport. So I do not plan to do mine until mine expires and I have to renew it, since I do have a passport, unless they change the rules again on that, which, could very well happen. So we will keep you updated on that as the deadline does approach, and we get more information and it gets ready to go into effect. We'll keep you updated on what we hear on this end, and come May 7th, we'll see how things go at the airports with TSA. All right, so the Mediterranean cruise season is getting ready to start. I can tell you that Sun Princess has already arrived in Italy. I've seen that information. Princess is actually going to be cruising to 9 ports of call in the Mediterranean this season. Celebrity has 7 ships that are going to be sailing in the Mediterranean, and that's a lot of ships in one particular area. So there will be 7 Celebrity ships in the area, including Celebrity Ascent that I recently sailed on. So, my question, have you sailed the Mediterranean before? Let us know in the comments below which ports of call you got to visit, what cruise line you cruised with, and what your overall thoughts were of the Mediterranean cruise. It is definitely one that is on my bucket list. I think it is gorgeous. I know that it's hot during the summer, but it's definitely one that I would love to do. Airfare fell 5% in March, according to the Consumer Price Index. However, as someone who flew in March, even though you purchased your flights earlier, and also someone who purchased airfare in April for October, I do not see the decrease that they are talking about as a consumer. So do you think that airfare has gone down? Have you found any deals lately on airfare? And find that that's one of those things that's it's harder to find a deal on. So let me know what your thoughts are on that. All right, so if you're a more eco-conscious traveler, the world's first hydrogen-powered cruise ship is set to debut in 2026. So meet the Viking Libra. Viking Libra is going to be the first of its kind, and then a second hydrogen-powered ship will debut in 2027, also by Viking, the Viking Estrella. So both ships will hold 998 passengers, and they're going to have 0 emissions, which is huge in the cruise industry. Now, as a whole, the cruise industry is working towards going to lower emissions and eventually 0 emissions. So Viking is obviously leading the way in that. So they've also signed for two additional ocean ships, that is, for delivery in 2031, with the option for an additional two in 2033. So it was not noted if those are also the hydrogen powered with zero emissions or not, but I am assuming that they probably will be, since most cruise lines are heading that way. So if you will visit enjoytheviewtravel.com, I can get you additional information on booking Viking River or ocean cruises. This is MSC's newest ship, and it has arrived in Miami. This is World America. Have you sailed with MSC before? It seems with MSC, it's either a love or a hate relationship. I'd love to hear your experience about MSC. Unfortunately, at this time, it is not a cruise line that I can book. Our host agency does not have MSC as one of our preferred suppliers at this time. I do, however, have MSC's luxury line, which is Explorer Journeys, and I can book those, but not the regular MSC line. Now, MSC is saying that the World America is a luxury line for them, but still not one that I can book as of this time. That could change, and if it does, I will definitely let you know. So if you like the content that we're sharing, please be sure to click like, share, and subscribe, and the notification bell so you don't miss our next episodes. Also, please leave a comment below because we'd love to hear from you. We have a Bahamas travel advisory upgrade. It was increased to a level 2 this week to exercise increased caution. This increase was made due to increased crime, swimming-related risk due to shark attacks, and watercraft safety, such as jet skis and small boats. We have traveled to the Bahamas both March of 2024 and March of 2025. In 2024, we went to Nassau. In 2025, we went to Bimini. I felt safe at both locations. Now, having said that, I did a ship excursion in Nassau, and we just stayed right around the port area and the resort area in Bimini. We didn't venture out into the island on our own, but I felt safe in the port area and on the port or the cruise excursion. No issues with that. You just always want to be aware of your surroundings when you're traveling. And that's true for anywhere that you go, whether there is an increased caution put out by the State Department about travel advisories, or just, when you're going in general. It doesn't just apply to other countries, it applies in our own country as well, in the US. So just always be alert when you're traveling, just because you just never know. Congratulations to Delta on their 100th anniversary. I have to say, I love this design on their aircraft to commemorate the 100 years in aviation. I think it's very nice. It's very simple. It's not over, dramatic. And I think it looks really good. So congratulations to Delta on 100 years. Well, big news out of Nashville this week. Iceland Air has officially started their nonstop flights to Iceland from Nashville. They are offering 4 weekly flights through the end of October right now. It is about a 7-hour flight on Boeing 737 MAX 8, flying on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. So this launch is actually 5 weeks ahead of schedule, and that is due to the incredible response and the demand for this flight. So you can fly into Iceland and then connect to 39 other countries across Europe. So it makes for a very good option for flying into Europe. So I looked up airfare just to see what it was running. In the news article that I was reading about this, it said that flights on the website were showing as low as $299. And so I thought, I'm going to go test that theory out. And so I went to look, I have not seen $2.99 anywhere yet. Now, again, I didn't go look every day, but I did go and pick a random date in June so that was a little further out, because the closer you buy to your flying date, the more expensive it is. So I picked a random day in June. And so they have two different options. They have an economy option, and they have it's either Sega or Saga. I don't know which they call it. I need to look up some videos to see. But anyway, it is running about $2,600 round trip if you get their, I'm going to call it Sega. And then the standard economy is running about $915 round trip. So the $299 I'm sure was one way that they were talking about. But still, that's a little cheaper than what I found. So let's talk about this aircraft and the seating options that you have on this, because we're talking a 7-hour flight. It left on Thursday evening, so it was an overnight flight. It is a 737 MAX 8, which does offer you just a little bit more space than a regular 737. So the two seating options, which I mentioned, are the Sega, which is similar to domestic first class options here in the US. They have 16 of those seats in a 2-2 configuration, and the seat is 20.5 inches in width. There is a seat back screen that's about 13 inches with a USB-A and power outlets for you to use during the flight. Economy is pretty similar to all economy. There's 144 seats in the 3-3 configuration. Seat width is 17.2 inches with standard legroom of 31 inches. They also have a seat back screen. It is smaller. It's 10.1 inches. And you do have a USB outlet for use during the flight. However, no power outlets in economy. So if you're looking for the business class seats that have the lay down seat so that it makes into a little bit of a bed so you can sleep, you're not going to find that on this flight. Okay, so who is ready to fly to Iceland? So earlier we introduced you to Viking Libra, and it's going to debut in 2026. So Viking already has a massive following for their river cruise industry as well as their ocean cruises, and I want us to take a look at some of the deals that Viking has to offer for cruises, because I was talking with a friend of mine earlier this week, and she says, why are river cruises, why do they seem to be so much more expensive? She's like, what's the difference? Why would that be more expensive than a regular ocean cruise? And I said, good question. And I can answer that. So we're going to start off talking about a Viking river cruise that starts at $2,300 per person. Okay. They do offer a variety of different locations. So I picked the cheaper end of this. It's an 8-day cruise. And so we're going to talk our way through it real quick. So to price it. So it's the Iberian Explorer from Viking, and it goes from Spain to London. Okay. The dates that came up were October 1st. So I just clicked on that. It actually is starting out at $29.99 instead of the $2,300 because the cheaper cabins have already sold out. So this category happens to be their veranda room. Okay, so they have two different, it's Veranda 2 and Veranda 1, and this is considered Veranda 2. It's 288 square feet. It includes a walk-out private veranda. Embarkation is at 11 a.m. and stateroom access is at 3 p.m. It has a king-size bed. It does have the twin configuration option. It includes luxury linens and pillows, free Wi-Fi. There's a 42-inch flat-screen TV, 110 and 220 power outlets, as well as USB inside the cabin. There's a large private bathroom that has a glass enclosed shower. It has heated floors. It has anti-fog mirrors. There is a hairdryer available, as well as premium toiletries, plush robes, slippers. Okay. They also have a direct dial satellite phone and cell service. I do not know what that cell service entails, but I could definitely find out if it's something you're interested in. They have a security safe. Typically, those do not hold your laptops, but I've not had any issues on any of the cruises I've been on with my laptop. I'm not going to typically tell you where I keep it, but I have not had any issues with the safety of my laptop while it's been left in the room. So it does have individual climate control for each cabin. You get purified water refilled daily. Your mini bar with soft drinks, water, and snacks is included. You have a stateroom steward, and you have twice daily housekeeping to your room, to your cabin. You have 24-hour room service that is included. There's underbed suitcase storage space. There's spacious drawers, closets with wooden hangers. Okay, so this price includes all of your port fees, your taxes, all of that. Okay, it includes all of your meals, all of your drinks. Your Wi-Fi again is free, and it says and more. We're going to talk about that in a second. Okay, as well as, and this is the important part because this is where some of the expense comes in, one shore excursion per port. On this particular cruise that I'm pricing, that includes 4 ports. So you're getting 4 excursions in this cruise. If anybody has cruised on an ocean cruise, you know that excursions are expensive. Okay, and when you go to add an excursion on, and a lot of times an ocean cruise may not have 4 ports. Okay, so if you go to add 4 excursions onto your cruise for 2 people, that's going to make your price jump pretty quick. Okay, so let's talk about what some of those extra things that were mentioned. Okay, so drinks, what does that entail? So you get beer, wine, and soft drinks included with your onboard lunch and dinner. Okay, so those aren't any additional. Can they do mixed drinks and things for a price? Of course. And those would be additional. They do not have like drink packages, but you can purchase those other drinks if you would like to. However, if you just like the soda, the beer, and the wine, you're set. So they also have 24-hour specialty coffee, tea, and bottled water that is included. Okay, if you know anything about, so when we went on our celebrity cruise, we did not get a drink package. Bottled water is about $5. Vitamin water that we got on there was $5. Specialty coffees, probably more than $5. And then also you also have specialty teas and things. So that is all included. Okay, complimentary access to spa and fitness center. Now I would need to investigate that a little bit more on the complimentary access to the spa. I'm sure that spa services are probably extra. So I would look to see what that access that complimentary access includes in the spa. They do have self-serve laundry facilities. They have an alternative restaurant dining, so think specialty dining for an ocean cruise, okay? And it's at no extra charge. And then again, 24-hour room service is also included. So all of that is included, okay? And it's $59.98 for 2 people with no extra stuff. And you're like, well, what extra stuff could it include? Okay, I can tell you. There are some extra options. Okay, so typically when you're doing a river cruise, it's over in Europe, right? Okay, so people like to arrive early or maybe even stay an extra day or 2. And so they offer some pre and post cruise, what they call extensions, or like land options. Again, those are additional costs if you are wanting to come early or stay late after your cruise or before your cruise. You can also get airfare through them. Now, on the website, it's showing that starts at $14.99 per person. It does include ground transfers if you purchase their airfare through them. So that means that they would transfer you from your the airport to the port, from the airport to your hotel if you were doing a pre or post stay. And then also I clicked on that to get a little bit more information So the $14.99, it was $15.99 out of Nashville. So of course prices are going to vary based on the airport that you're out of. And that was economy, of course. And then it went up to, they had a premium economy and then a business class. And I will tell you that the business class was very pricey, but it is, of course, much more comfortable. The premium economy was about the price of the cruise per person, just so you know. Airfare is a little expensive right now. So when you look at this initially, it does look like it's a bigger expense. Okay. But when you start to break it down on everything that is included and compare it to an ocean cruise, you have to think about all those things you would typically add: a drink package, a Wi-Fi package, excursions, spa, room service. Typically, all those things are not included in an ocean cruise. So if you're interested in more information about a Viking, river, or ocean cruise, please contact me at enjoytheviewtravel.com for additional details. All right, travel tip of the week. Let's talk air tags today for your luggage. Okay, yes, no, do you do that? Absolutely, I say yes. I have air tags for my suitcases and my backpack, which I use as my carry-on, and I can track them at all times. So now I'm going to tell you, it's not always 100% accurate. So when we went on our cruise last June, we had the shuttle from the port to the airport. And so you hand off your luggage as you're getting onto the bus, and they put it on there. And so when we left the bus, I got a notification on my phone that my husband's luggage was no longer with us. It was not within range, basically. And I'm like, I handed him the bag. There's no way that it didn't get on the bus. It's got to be there. But I was kind of sweating it just a little bit, a little nervous that his bag didn't make it on there. And it gave me the notification all the way to the airport. Now, when we got to the airport and we got off the bus and all the luggage, I was watching as he was taking all the luggage off the bus. I saw my husband's bag, so it was no big deal. But so you do have that little glitch every now and then. And I don't know if maybe his suitcase was just the very last at the very end. And so it was just far enough away from my phone that I couldn't, it couldn't pick it up that it was with me. Yeah, I 100% say get the air tags and put them in your luggage. So I know we went a little long today on this week's View on Travel with our discussion of the Viking, river, and ocean cruises, but thanks for sticking around and watching this week's View on Travel. And until next time, enjoy the view. Thank you for watching this week's View on Travel. Be sure to visit us at enjoytheviewtravel.com. Be sure to hit that like, share, subscribe, and notification bell so you don't miss our next episode.